As I said earlier, I intend to be a partner in securing a better future. We're going to be working, you're going to be working with the United States, and we're going to make sure that the Middle East is going to be a safe and secure place. It's a very important place in the world, means so much. There were so many people who said the Middle East, and this has been going for many, many decades. I've read it many times that World War III will begin in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. There was a time that you would have thought it could have, but it's not going to happen. There won't be World War III, hopefully at all, but it's not going to start in the Middle East. We're not going to have a World War III if we're smart. There'll never be a World War III. Our work begins right here and right now. From ancient times, this region has been extraordinarily mixed with respect to people, culture, religions, all of the different elements of national characters, unlike maybe anywhere else on earth. And for 3,000 years, there's been conflict. For whatever reason, there's been tremendous conflict, always conflict. But today, for the first time anyone can remember, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. And that's why so many people in this room, they didn't get along. Some did, some didn't, but they're getting along now. This has brought the people together. This is the first time the Middle East crisis has brought people together as opposed to driving them apart. And to declare that our future will not be ruled by the fights of the generations past, which is foolish. So together, let us continue in the spirit of cooperation and goodwill that has finally brought us to this incredible, historic breakthrough. If we do together, we will reach the Middle East's incredible destiny, a safe and prosperous and beautiful crossroads of culture and commerce, faith in humanity and geographic center. This will be the geographic center of the world. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank you all for what you've done and for this quick notice. It all came together just at one little period. It just came together. It's, the greatest deals happen that way. If you do anything about deals, that's all I've done all my life is deals. The greatest deals just sort of happen.
Hey, Shalom. I'd like to start out by giving all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and you just heard it straight from the horse's mouth. There will be no World War III. Armageddon will not be happening. There won't be any gathering at the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat. All that is off the plate, off the table now, because Trump said so. There's not going to be a war, and these guys are going to stay in power, and everything's going to be peaceful. But that's basically what he's saying. He's saying there will not be a battle of Armageddon, when we know that the scriptures speak of this. This is the time that his people fall. His people being the so-called, or the Edomites, who come from so-called Caucasian or so-called white people, including the small hatters, the tiny tops. Those are the biblical Edomites. And World War III, biblically, is called the Battle of Armageddon. And this is a great transfer of power from his people, the Edomites, to Jacob, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites, as well as are scattered, because we've been scattered to the four corners of the earth. We're going to come back looking like all of the other nations, including like Trump's nation. We're going to look like them all. But this great transition of power is coming. They don't want it, so they're speaking proudly against it, but it's going to happen no matter what. And so that actually, let's keep listening to their proud talk. So Trump's vice president, J.D. Vance, says, claims the Middle East is on the cusp of sustainable peace. That's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen because You guys are the border of wickedness. There can't be peace under you. You are the violent men. But it says in a recent appearance on national television, Vice President J.D. Vance expressed strong optimism about the prospects for lasting peace in the Middle East, attributing the breakthrough to President Trump's unconventional diplomatic strategies. And this is from End Time Headlines, came out October 12th, 2025. This is Vance speaking on CBS News. Face the Nation described the region as being on the cusp of a sustainable peace. He praised Trump's approach, saying it was a very tall task. He pursued a very non traditional diplomacy with people who were not 40-year diplomats, but people who brought a fresh perspective to it. The vice president further elaborated, I think that because he chose a different pathway, he didn't just do what everybody else in the past has done. We are now on the cusp of sustainable peace in the Middle East. It's a great moment. And this guy was vying for the Nobel Peace Prize, which would have been fitting, but it went to I think she's a Venezuelan, in which supposedly she actually gave the prize to Trump after she won it. I don't know about the monetary gain that comes with it, but supposedly she gave the prize. I'll have to look into that more. But I think that's funny because he wanted that oh so badly. Moving on. Actually, that's the point. They really think that there could be sustained peace here, but I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen. This war is going to happen. Daniel 7 and verse 8. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Horns signify power, and here it's showing power structures or empires or kingdoms that are rising and falling. And this little horn is speaking of America. It says, before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. There's three horns. Who did America come out of? Who colonized America? You've got the Spanish, the French, and the British. And those are the three horns. Three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And there were wars for all of those. You had the Spanish-American War, the American Revolution, and the French-American War, in which out of that came America, this little horn. And it says, and behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. And that guy, Trump, and his vice president are speaking great things, very proud things. They're going against what the Lord told us was going to happen. These things are going to happen. World War III is going to happen, Trump, no matter if you like it or not. What if some did not believe? It really doesn't matter. You're about to go into war. Daniel 7 and 20. So skipping down, still speaking of that same little horn we just read about in verse 8. It says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, because this is going into that beast with seven heads and 10 horns, Rome. The 10 horns going into the vassal states of Rome. And of the other which came up, and before whom three fell, that going into America, the Spanish, the French, and the British. This is that other that came up, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. It's a proud man. Donald Trump is a very proud man. J.D. Vance is a very proud man. Americans are very proud people, proud to be an American. And they're speaking very proud words. They're directly going against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai by saying that World War III will not happen. It's just the same as saying the Battle of Armageddon will not happen. Saying that there will be no judgment at the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. These are proud statements, very stout statements, more stout than his fellows, these other Edomites. They're not saying this, but these American Edomites are. It says, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them, because they made war with the saints being the Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They made war with the saints back in 1492 and beyond with taking out the Gadites, so-called Native Americans, and the Reubenites, so-called Native Americans as well, the tribe or the Seminoles. They made war with us then and took us out, and then brought over the Southern Kingdom, so-called Negroes, and put us into captivity. They made war with us. And then even now, you look to nowadays with what's going on with ICE, they're currently making war with us. And just like then, started with the Northern Kingdom, and it's going on to the Southern Kingdom. They're made war with the saints, and they're currently making war with the saints. And they've prevailed against us. But after these things, verse 22, it says, until the Ancient of Days came. It's the Father, because he has no beginning and no ending. And judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. The Israelites are the saints, those that made a covenant by sacrifice, the saints. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom, because we are coming into a great transition of power, and those Edomites, like Trump and J.D. Vance, are going to be on the wrong side of it, which keeps saying we're coming into a transition. We should get that. Salakia. Kingdom translated. Sirach. Salakia, I went to Wisdom of Solomon. Sirach 10 and verse 8, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. These Edomites have done all of this. Western society, being ran by the Edomites, has done all these things. Unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. That's where the saints get the kingdom and take the kingdom and rule it forever and ever under Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. But these proud people are talking like peace is coming, but there will be no peace. There's no peace unto the wicked. Malachi 1 and verse 4, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts. These Edomites being those so-called white people and those tiny toppers. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they have built. That's what we're in. Western society is the result of them building after the fall of Rome. They shall build, but I will throw down. The Lord is currently throwing them down. And it's internally and infrastructurally, and you're seeing schisms between the Edomites, especially politically. You're seeing the division coming up. You're watching them being thrown down currently. And it's going to be huge when it's all said and done. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord hath indignation forever, righteous anger, because of how they have been, how they've treated his people, the unrighteous dealings, the injuries, and the riches got by deceit. They're about to be thrown down. But the point being, they shall call them the border of wickedness. They're calling for peace over there. But you can't have peace when the border of wickedness is right there, smack dab in the so-called Middle East, Western Asia. And Trump even said this will be the precipice. He said the Slovakia. I forgot exactly how he said it, but like that's the middle of. I'm gonna get it just because I'm messing that up.
This will be the geographic center of the world. So
Right there, went back perfectly. The geographic center of the world, and there you have the border of wickedness, hoping to bring peace. You can't have that with you all having power. It's just not going to happen. There will be no peace. And coming back to end time headlines, right up here at the top, it said NATO braces for World War III as Trump vows to continue supplying Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles. So on one side of your mouth, you're saying there won't be a World War III because of the peace you've brought to Western Asia, so-called Middle East. But on the other side, other side of your mouth, you're supplying Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. This is a this is an act of war. Russia is not going to stand for this. This is NATO supplying weaponry to Ukraine, a non-NATO state, which is going to make for war on NATO. World War III is going to happen, man, and we cannot wait. So they called it First Thessalonians 5 and verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. And that's how it's going to come for them. They think World War III is not going to happen. But the hopeful elect knows that World War III is going to happen, and we welcome it. We pray for it to come. We want it sooner rather than later. We do know that the MOTB will have to be made mandatory before it gets really popping, but we pray for these things because we want the translation of kingdoms. We want this nightmare of Western rule, of Edomite rule, to cease. We want the end of it. And so we're ready for this. It's not going to come as a thief in the night. We want the return of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. We want that more than anything. Verse 3, for when they shall say peace and safety, that is what they are saying. J.D. Vance is saying we have a shot at long-term peace. Trump is saying there's not going to be a World War III. Peace and safety. They gave Trump almost was in the talks of winning the Nobel Peace Prize, and that lady gave him the prize. Peace and safety. Then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. And so, really, we should be looking for something crazy to happen, because it's a sudden destruction cometh upon them. That's what we should be looking at. So that day doesn't come on to us as a thief in the night. We're looking for that sudden destruction, because they're saying the peace and safety. And so keep your eyes open. We'll see what comes next. And we know that the MOTB comes, which is the RFID micro C-HIP. We know that the division is brewing here, which is going to bring to civil war and economic collapse. We're watching the rumblings of World War III. We just saw the title of that one article. And we're looking for World War III to fully break out, the Battle of Armageddon. We're looking for all these things. And it's coming. And so, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.